What is up, my ninjas? And as you can see, we are back to the good shit. I am reviewing the G.I. Joe Resolute Roadblock. This is one of my favorite figures in my collection, and it's mainly because the scale, paint applications, and just, you know, his proportions are right. And he's one of the few figures that really more closely resembles his TV show counterpart. Now, as with most things, I went back and I was looking at a lot of Hasbro, a lot of their older figures that are supposed to be of things from, you know, movies or TV shows or whatever, and not everything was on model. As you can see here, though, obviously Resolute Roadblock has the right colors and kind of the right placement of things. I always tweak my figures to kind of fit more of the aesthetic that I'm looking for, be it the movie or TV, you know, aesthetic. So as you can see, my old school 25th Roadblock, I gave him a better, you know, heavy machine gun, and I gave him a, well, technically it's an LMG, but and I gave him a different vest, and then I gave the Roadblock that the Resolute Roadblock, I gave him the AA-12 just because it looks better with him, you know. Here he is standing next to his, or with his Retaliation counterparts. They share almost nothing in common except for the bald head and mustache and goatee. That's it. And the fact that they're using pretty heavy weapons. That's it. That's really it. Visually, at least, you know what I'm saying? There's not many visual cues. Here he is standing next to the Resolute figures that I have so far. And I love the look. He fits perfectly. I wish this was the look they had in the movies because it makes sense, you know? And it's not like it's stuff that can't easily be recreated, you know, because it's all existing clothing and existing gear. And I don't see why this hasn't been done yet. But he looks good, and they all look good together. Roadblock stands out because he's wearing the least amount of like armor and elbow pads and knee pads. You know, he has his knee pads on, but up top he just is light. It's a lot of pockets, a lot of clips, but not a lot of armor. You know what I'm saying? And he's the big guy, so it kind of makes sense, and it looks good for him. It makes him look more hardcore than The Rock, who's covered in multiple types of armor. This is one of those BBI Elite Force figures. At first, you know, I was like, holy shit, $4.99, I have to get one, or $3.99. So I got one, Marine Sniper, and I figured because he's a big guy, I can use him as a support character for the Joes. Don't waste your money on these figures if you can help it. They're kind of cheaply made. I tried to turn this guy's head, and his head twisted right the fuck off. But as you can see, this BBI figure is the bigger BBI figure. He's the biggest of the BBI characters, and Roadblock still kind of dwarfs him. And I love that about this figure, you know. The AA-12, that comes from Marauders Gunrunners, and it's a very, very, very awesome, accurate sculpt. You have to glue the drum clip in because it'll fall out repeatedly, and it's removable. You can put a scope on this thing if you wanted to. You can put an underbarrel grenade launcher if you want to. A lot of the Marauder stuff from the last couple years has become modular, so you can kind of tweak things to make it look how you want it to look. But I figure for Roadblock, you just keep it powerful and that's it. This is the gun that Roadblock actually came with, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, that's a machine gun of some sort, but it's kind of a what gun? You know, I mean, we've seen these on weapons. If you've been in the service, you've seen similar, like 60 or 50 or 60 cal guns on the tops of Humvees. But, you know, the weird green coloring, and it's just not what I was looking for when it comes to a figure this well detailed. And I guess Hasbro always has to do something to let you know it's a toy, you know? I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, look how toyetic that looks, you know what I'm saying? And you've got this soldier that actually looks the part, and you chose to give him a gun that kind of looks less like it fits with him and more like an attachment on some gaudy 90s or actually early 80s, yeah, mid 80s, you know, G.I. Joe vehicle. So yeah, that thing went in my box of stuff. Now he's got this pickaxe type thing. You use these to dig trenches and possibly graves, but you can dig trenches really quick. It just seems weird. It's like, you know, you give him this mining tool. I mean, I guess you can obviously use it as a weapon, you know. All it takes is, you know, the right opportunity. And then he has this big ass grenade, rocket propelled grenade. I don't know. He doesn't come with a mortar. He doesn't come with anything to fire it. The best I could think of was that and it's weird because the Expendables came out later. Maybe there was another action movie where this was done and I just don't remember, but I figure he could just throw it, you know. Duke will point, tell him where he needs to go, and Roadblock will pick that thing up one-handed and freaking spiral that shit into the enemy. I guess it's a cool little thing. I could have done without some of these parts. I mean, it's cool, I guess, for other things, you know. If we happen to be, you know, needing a single RPG, now you'd have it, plain and simple. But it is kind of badass to pose him like he's throwing that thing and someone's gonna, you know, shoot it when it hits the, you know, gets into the right territory. But yeah, he had a weird mix of weaponry. Now there's another version of this figure that was released with in the Rise of Cobra line, and he had dark colors, you know, like greens and browns, almost like woodland camouflage. And I never saw that one. I think it was a Walmart exclusive. I could be wrong. You guys could always check yojo.com. They have a listing of every single figure, and you can, you know, check the accuracy of some of my statements, or if you want to just research which Joes you actually want for your collection, that's a good place to do it. But yeah, there was an exclusive. It was one of those spots, I can't remember, and he pretty much came with the body of, it's this same body but more along the lines of Heavy Duty in Rise of Cobra, the Heavy Duty that's wearing the you know, not wearing the reactive impact armor. But this figure's awesome. He's huge, he looks powerful, he looks really good with his team, he can hold his gun the right damn way. And, you know, he says in Resolute that there ain't a gun on this earth that I ain't trained on. And it's the truth, you know, and you can make him look like that. You know, I prefer that kind of Roadblock as opposed to the one that's somewhat on par with Snake Eyes in martial arts because The Rock is playing him. You know, fuck that. All the Joes have their own individual shtick, you know, their own individual skills, and there's a reason why they're on the team. I believe Roadblock's a badass and a pretty powerful fighter, but he doesn't need to be doing kung fu and shit and ninjutsu like, you know, Snake Eyes just to be a badass. He should be good with his hands and deadly with any weapon that he can pick up and use on the battlefield, especially the heavy weapons. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm going for with my Roadblock. I'm getting closer to finishing up my Joe collection video, so you will see so much more of my Joe stuff. I want to say in the next day or so I should have it up. We got a new off our brains for you. I don't know why I had to correct myself so fast. And you know, more quick reviews, of course. But this figure is a must get if you like Roadblock. If you like the original Joes, like, or the ones from the cartoon, because for me the OG 13, by the time I was able to start having a bunch of Joes, I was not able to get most of those characters. Now, my OG team is the OG A Real American Hero Joes from the TV show, the main ones, you know, and Roadblock is part of that. So I like the fact that he also has the graying hair, you know, on his eyebrows and his mustache and beard, but he's still fit and huge and powerful looking. That is awesome. So, you know, and this even plays more into the fact that Terry Crews should have played him. So take that, Rock. And this has been my review of the G.I. Joe Resolute Roadblock. I mean, it's a dope figure, just plain and simple. If you ever get the chance, I mean, he goes for about, I want to say $20, maybe a little bit more on eBay. It's worth it in this case because he's not a cheaply made figure. He comes with a decent amount of shit that you can actually spread amongst your other Joes. And, you know, his paint apps are mostly on point. His articulation is on point. You don't really have to worry about some of the crap that we've been worrying about in recent times when dealing with Hasbro and their various products. So, anyway, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. And I'm Strident. And I guess I will catch you guys on the next video. Okay, so stay tuned for that Joe collection vid, alright? Peace outside.